everyone. Thank you guys for joining me for this lunchtime live. My name is Nikki and I am the Sassy Subber. And today we're going to be talking about finding your niche. Let's just be honest. That's a struggle bus conversation when somebody goes, so what is your niche? What are you good at? What do you do? And you look at them and go, I don't know. I do a lot of things. But the problem with that is we don't know where to start. We don't know where to launch. We don't know the thing, right? We don't know where our heart is. And today we're going to go over some things. A lot of this is going to be some open-ended type of questions for you to go back, rewatch this, write down those questions. I'm going to try to take it a little slow when I do this. I know I tend to talk very fast. But I want to take each section. I have sat over the last 45 minutes and created this class because today alone, I have gotten asked 5 times how to find your niche. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do a lunchtime live on it. First, let's thank everybody in the comment section for joining me during this lunchtime live. Thanks so much for joining us. And in the back office, I do have Miss Cheyenne. So when you do ask me a question, I will be able to see it and hopefully be able to answer it right here on the spot today. So let's get started. I don't want to take up too much of your lunchtime. So there are 3 different categories that I want you to think about when you're thinking about niche marketing, right? The crafting techniques and processes, your preferred product types, and design preferences and themes. I broke it down to 3 categories. I didn't want to overwhelm you with so much more, but we're going to go down through and break each one up. I'm going to try to help you the best that I can because I've been on this journey myself. What is my niche market? What is something that brings me joy? I've talked about it frequently. Well, let's just keep diving right in. So, crafting techniques and processes. Now, I know some of you have got Cricuts, silhouettes, you have your sublimation, you have embroidery, you have a laser, you have eco solvent, you have UV, you have DTF, right? Whatever the things are that you have, you need to go, okay, these are the things that I can do. Write that out. Write where your strong points are. So, what crafting techniques and processes do you find the most intriguing or enjoyable? So you look at the list of items that I just talked about, right? What you already have in your wheelhouse, if you will. Write them down. And then I want you to rank them 1 through however many are on the list. 1 being your top favorite thing to do, and your 5, not your favorite, but it's in your wheelhouse just because you need it there. You know how we pick up those crafts? Yes. So whatever it is, I want you to rank them 1 through 5, okay? Then what I want you to do is, have you experimented with different crafting techniques? When you're looking at that list, can you combine 1 and 2, or maybe 1, 2, and 3 of your top 3? Like, how can you go in? You don't want to just do straight sublimation. You don't want to just do straight embroidery, but how can you combine the 2 of them? What could it possibly get you to, right? I want you to think about this whole thing as the NBA brackets when you're doing basketball. You have your list. You're going to then narrow it down till you get to the final result. Okay. And that's what we're doing. We're literally making our NBA bracket, and we're going to see how we can, okay, if we combine this, we can get this, and we combine this, we can get this. That's important to know. And the reason being is it's going to help narrow down that search of where your heart's really at. If you're wishy-washy, go to like the red light, green light method when we're talking about products, right? So you can look at it. Everything is in yellow. You like everything you do because you wouldn't have brought it into your wheelhouse. The thing is, there's some things that are going to get the go green light. You're going to move it into what you absolutely enjoy. You're going to get some red light ones, even though they're a yellow to start out with. They're not so enjoyable for me. I have it because I thought I needed it. I had it because, well, I use it sometimes, right? You can also go with that method as well. Next, can you identify the skills, the specific skills and strengths that you possess in certain crafting techniques? For example, what is your skill set for each one? What are the things that you need to have? What are the things that you may be lacking, right? So we're going to start with sublimation because, name on the door and all. So with sublimation, where in sublimation are you lacking to be able to move forward? Or what are you lacking that is one of those things that's holding you back from jumping into that big order or jumping into something new. And you want to do that with each one of the things that you do. So remember, you have your top whatever, 1 through 5, 1 through 10, whatever it is in your wheelhouse. You want to know where your strong points are. Okay. This isn't about beating yourself up. This is about finding your way. We're just paving the way here. Okay. So again, figure out what all the things you do and what are the things that you need to do in order to do that. Are you strong in digitizing? If not, do you have a digitizer in your back pocket that you enjoy? Or that you're easy to work with? Is there something in sublimation that you're lacking, that you're like, oh, you know what? It's not part of my skill set, but I still enjoy it. Find this out and find out where your strongest points are. That's also going to help. Now, moving on to preferred product types. This is a good one. Nikki, what is your favorite thing to press in sublimation? Towels, flags, pillowcases. Those would be my jam. The harder things like slates, that kind of stuff. What's your least favorite thing to press? If you don't know this answer by now, you have clearly not watched me long enough to absolutely know this answer, but I'll tell you just to kind of hedge it here. Tumblers. Not a fan of doing tumblers. And if you don't know, you don't know, but I'm not a fan of it. It's not one of the things that I absolutely enjoy the process. And that's okay. But yet I love making coffee mugs. I have a trillion of them. So again, these are just things that you want to be real and honest with yourself. So when you're asking yourself these questions, there are different types of categories for crafting. There's personalized gifts, there's home decor, and there's custom apparel. If you take those three things, right? So personalized gifts, home decor, and custom apparel, where do you fall into? We all, and if you haven't, or if you don't know this, Lisa Goebel is one of our members. And one thing I can tell you she falls into every single time, spirit wear. That is where she might enjoy other things, but her company does a lot of spirit wear items, right? So she falls into that in the custom and personalized apparel stuff. That is pretty much her niche. She owns that niche. She has like 8 or 9 schools in that niche. So she found where people, one, she had a calling for, 2, products that she had fit into what their needs are. And that's where she's kind of niched herself, the spirit wear swag stores. All right. You'll get people who have put themselves into, well, the pet line. They love everything for pets. That is where their heart is. They like to do service with, pets. They might be volunteers for pets, whatever it may be, but their calling is there. All right. So what are some, and I was just touching upon it, what are some specific product categories you feel particularly passionate about and skill set? And that's that right there. Where do you find your heart is? If you were to ask me 10, 15, even 20 years ago, where my passion was, I would have told you in wedding planning. But as time has gone on, I've raised my family. I'm into different things. Weddings, believe it or not, or being a wedding planner isn't where my heart is anymore. And that's okay that you change and you pivot. You don't have to love the niche that you're in right away. You do have to have it solid, but you can fall out of a love of a niche too. It might encourage you to open up a new shop just to kind of fill that void of feeling like you've done everything in the niche that you're in. All right. So we want to be able to go in and say, okay, well, where do our passions lie? Maybe you like to do stuff for vets. Maybe you like to do stuff for schools, pets, new moms, babies. Find out where and narrow that down. Give yourself the top 5 things you like to do, you like to create. You'll be able to see if it's personalized items, home decor, or personalized or custom apparel. You will find out which category very quickly those are going to fit into and where you're kind of leading. Lastly, in this, what is the positive feedback that you have either seen or gotten from your customers? Like, what products do you sell that you get the most feedback on? What are the products that you sell that you get the most reaction to on your socials, right? Where is that? And then maybe that's how you start. So throw out another item. So an example, let's say we're going to go into the pet category. You throw out dog scarves, right? And people are just loving these dog scarves. So you're not 100% sure if that's what you love to work with pet stuff, but you're not sure if that's still a thing. So the next time you're going to throw out, let's say, a total random thing like a garden flag, but don't have it be anything pet related, and see what kind of interaction you get, right? So you can throw out the same product and put a pet on it, and you might get, major traction on it. But you put something like home decor on it, and they're like, right? So pet scarves, you got a lot of traction. Now you want to go in and you want to see a different product that can be wishy-washy, right? Because if you put a pet's face on a garden flag, that might be that the pets is your jam. But if you put home decor type thing on it, like a red truck and a barn, you might not get a lot of traction. So that's experiment 1. Experiment 2, take another product like a pillowcase, right? And put a pet theme on it. Then what you're going to do is put a different animal or a different genre theme on there and see if you get the same traction. If you get the same traction every time with pets, then pets is your jam. This is just an example. So if you're doing weddings, wedding is very nichey. Babies, not so nichey. I mean, it's nichey, don't get me wrong, but babies happened, weddings happen. You just have to decide where your heart is. Please understand, though, that with not necessarily with weddings, but with babies, you can grow with the child. Weddings, you go from weddings to possible family. You don't know if they're going to have a family. You don't know what's in their wheelhouse. So that your interaction with your brides and grooms might stop right there. You might not further any more communication, even though they're going to have a new house, even though they're going to have a new thing, they might not expand their family. So your interaction with that particular client might be short-lived. Whereas when you start making stuff for babies, you can grow with the baby because the baby's going to grow. The parents are going to want different things, first birthdays, second birthdays, gift ideas, all of that kind of stuff. You see how you can grow with that. Pets are kind of similar. You get that new pet, welcome to our home, welcome to our forever home, happy first birthday, whatever it may be, all the way to the Rainbow Bridge. So you've grown with that because the pet is with the family for a longer time. I'm not saying that weddings are not a great niche. They absolutely are. But just remember, it might be short-lived as to your communication with a bride or a groom. All right. So not the saying that they won't reach out to you for other things. They absolutely will. But if all you have in your wheelhouse is just wedding stuff, you kind of stop that communication. This is why having more items that could be like home related, beyond the wedding. You could have a whole tab called Beyond the Big Day, right? I should coin that phrase. Beyond the big day, because again, you want to grow with them. You don't want to stop that interaction because you want them as a client moving forward. So you want to think about that as well. So these are just some of the things that you can think about when you're trying to find your niche. Where's your ace in the pocket? Now, we started to touch upon it, and we're going to talk about design preferences and themes. So here's my question to you. What designs and themes do you just naturally gravitate towards when you're doing a project? Currently, Highland cows, if you kind of haven't figured that out, right? So for me, it's Highland cows. Last year was gnomes. Don't worry, I'm getting back into gnomes. You're welcome, and there's your forewarning. So there are different things that you will see that I'm into at that moment that I'm gravitating towards because it's something that I love. If you look at Ashley Dodd right now, she's doing all retro-y type stuff. That's where her jam is. So if that's what's going for her, that's where her design brain is at, then that's what she's going to gravitate towards. Whereas me, I want the farmhouse, rustic, country type thing. That's my jam. As I switch and pivot, because I need different things to design for, I'm going to create things that are based in a certain theme. And it could be, we're going to do spring theme. We're going to do masculine theme. We're going to do rustic. We're going to do farmhouse country. If you notice, I really like those. And that's where my heart is. That's where my jam is. Can I create baby items, bibs, burps? And absolutely I can. Have I done it in a hot minute? Nope. I probably should. So again, it's just trying to figure out where you gravitate. Go take a real hard look at all the designs that you collect from all the various artists and see what you generally pick up. Now, you could also do that whole same experiment thing that I talked about when you're trying to find the niche, like where do your people gravitate towards? Start throwing out different design ideas, right? And see what they like. Some people just aren't into the farmhouse country look. Maybe they're not my people. That's okay. Maybe they're more into the boho chic look. Maybe they're into a minimalistic look. You have to figure out where your clientele that gravitated towards you, because they gravitated towards you, one, because you can make the thing, and two, they like your style, right? So that's also a part of finding your niche, is finding your design style. What is it you love to purchase, to design for, whatever it may be? Now, different things that we're going to go into. So there are different like design elements, colors, patterns, motifs, right? Do you have certain colors that you gravitate towards? Different motifs that you gravitate towards? There's a lot that you can gravitate towards. And then you might go into, well, let me give you an example. Beverly, she gravitates towards farmhouse country and sunflowers. That's her jam. If it's a sunflower, she's snatching that up really quick, right? Because sunflowers are her jam. She also will try to incorporate that farmhouse rustic theme in there. And that's where she gravitates towards. And that's the kind of clientele that she, gravitates, that gravitate towards her. So you have to see what you're producing or putting out to see what you're going to get back as a clientele. And just as I'm going to tell you, and we've said it in past, presentations, not everybody is your client. Not because they don't like you, not because you don't like them. It's just that your design style, the products that you offer, might not jive with their aesthetic, might not jive with where they are in their life, right? So that's okay. Not everyone has to be in your wheelhouse. Not everyone has to be your client. But that's not to say that you might niche yourself, that they might not find you. Maybe they're not pet owners right now, but maybe down the line they may be. All right. So then they become your client again. Maybe they're a wedding client and they're like, hey, do you do anything else for like babies or, my fur babies? And you could go, absolutely. Now you've added another niche where your main niche was weddings. You could have subcategories for niches as well. That's why we kind of tend to like to have a lot of things in our wheelhouse design wise, but it's one of those things that it's okay to have a little bit of extra too. Now, you may also gravitate towards specific items. Like I talked about, I'm not a fan of tumblers. I don't actually like putting them even on my website, to be very honest with you. I try to avoid them at all costs, but I will do them. It's just not my favorite thing to do. I struggle with the fact that I need them to be perfect. OCD at its finest. And while I need to show myself some grace, and I do produce some beautiful designs for them, I'm just not one of those people that just loves the process. But if I put it on a coffee mug, I can go sell it all day, every day, because it comes from a genuine place of my heart, right? The more you love what you do, the products that you like to produce, maybe you just like to do towels, because you love them, right? You're going to be more genuine when you're presenting these products. You look more authentic, right? And people are going to gravitate towards that authenticity of you when it comes to figuring it out where you want to go, okay? So while I know it's a process and it's a frustration nation process, I get that too. I'm going to put up on the screen right now. Let me see. Hopefully it doesn't add Cheyenne in. There we go. Nope, it did. Move yourself down, Cheyenne. Here, I'll move you. There, I moved her. Okay. So here are some questions that you can be asking yourself when trying to navigate this. Screenshot this. Take this to heart, because I know a lot of you are struggling right now. What aspects of crafting bring me the most joy and fulfillment? You got to figure that out. That's right out of the gate, the things you need to be figuring out. Because you know what? If it doesn't bring you joy, and make a list, things that bring me joy, things that I just would rather not talk about, right? They end up in the not forgiving pile, right? How do my skill set and strengths align with the different niches within the crafting industry? So What is it that you want to do that's going to align in what you do? So what you have in your wheelhouse, as in sublimation, embroidery, all of that, like your skill sets, how are they going to align? How can you find that and how can you mesh them together? What unique perspective or creative vision do you bring to the crafting project? Like, what is it? You guys know I'm a think outside of the box girl. I want to know that I can take one product and turn it into 10. Okay. That's my jam because it keeps me on the edge of techniques. It's keeping me on the edge of what's in and now and all of that stuff. That keeps me right there at the forefront. All right. And that's what you kind of want to see. What is it that you can do to put that in your wheelhouse? What are your long-term goals and aspirations within this business? What is that? Kathleen King says to me, Nikki, I want to make this my full-time job. I'd really like to quit my day job. Like, this is where I want to be. And okay, well, there's your goal. That is the main goal. I would like to retire and this be my hustle, right? That's the goal. What is your lifetime goal? Maybe it's to move like me, move and get my own brick and mortar. This has been the longest 2-year struggle of my entire existence, but here we are. We're going on year 3. Yay! Of me not moving. So, but I still have those goals. Those goals didn't change. All right. Those goals didn't change that I want to move to Florida. Those goals didn't change that I want a brick and mortar. And the goal didn't change that I want to do it with my family. So, they're still on the table. How do I achieve that? Keep pushing through, keep building the business that I have here in New York and keep doing my online presence. Why? Because I want to hit people all over the country. So it doesn't matter where my roots end up. I can still have my business and take it with me. Next, number 5, how can I leverage my personal interests and passions to create a niche that stands out in the market? Maybe you enjoy hiking. Maybe that's your jam. Maybe you enjoy yoga. Maybe that's your jam. Maybe that's the market you need to be going after. What are your passions? What are your hobbies? And I understand our hobbies turn into businesses. I am that problem. Okay, so I understand that very much so. So what are your hobbies? What are your interests? Like, I love Broadway. So how could I possibly get myself into the Broadway market? Who could I cater to? Well, other Broadway enthusiasts, right? Those could be, maybe I am a lover of books. Maybe I'm on Bread Talk, right? And I love to bake. You see how you can niche that down very quickly based on your own personal interest. Then you're passionate about it. You can sell it, and you can sell it from a good place in your heart and not be that used car salesman kind of feel, because nobody wants that. Number 6, what feedback have I received from my customers to my peers that can guide me towards the ideal crafting niche? What are your clients asking for? What are they gravitating towards, right? A great way to do that is a this and a that. Do you like this or do you like that? Put this or that in the comments. That allows for you. I'll have Cheyenne do that later today. She will put up a this or that, and then this or that. What do you like? Do you like the beach? Do you like the cabin in the woods? Do you like the lake or the beach? That kind of thing. That's just some of the ideas of what you could do, but we'll try to niche it for niche markets. Are you into pets or into babies, right? And because she's currently printing a human, that's a great question. So, are you a pet lover or are you expanding your family, grandbabies, whatever? Those are a great this or that. And sometimes it's both. And how can we niche those together? Number 7, am I open to exploring new techniques, products, and design styles to expand my niche possibilities? Are you willing to add to your wheelhouse? Okay, so you've got sublimation and you have a silhouette and a Cricut. Now you're at that crossroads, that pivotal moment of where do you add that next big thing? Well, you have to look at it in 2 points of views. One of them is laser embroidery. I'm going to use Kathleen King as an example because she was my last conversation today. So laser embroidery. Okay, so you have sublimation in your wheelhouse. Now, laser would be almost the next logical choice when it comes to this. Well, yes, you can do sublimation. Embroidery. Yes, you could add embroidery in. And yes, you can combine your sublimation with your embroidery world. 110% you can, right? This one has a totally different style learning curve. And honestly, the market that you're going to have to reach out to is going to be a little bit harder, right? Not that embroidery is hard necessarily. It's just marketing that stuff, because embroidery is like up here when it comes to price point, right? That is a like preferred type service, if you will. So you ain't going to be able to sell it cheap. Did you get the pecker? No, I did not, but I'll get to that in a second. So the thing is where you want to go in that particular warehouse. Now, why I say laser is the next logical progression, if you only have a sublimation in your line, is because one, yes, and my vendors are going to love this in about 2.5 seconds, but you could go cut your own. You could go create your own. You can engrave, you can cut, you can laser, you can make your own patches. You can do your own thing right in your own wheelhouse, which allows you to be just a little bit different because it could be based on the niche that you're in. And maybe, the vendors aren't creating items for that niche where you can go in and create it. So is that the most next logical choice? Yes. And with lasers being a lot more cost effective or a little bit more affordable nowadays, that might be your thing. If laser is not your thing, you're like, I don't want the risk of this, then if you want to go into the newest, hottest, latest thing, which is the direct to film, then you can. But that is such a saturated market. Again, let's talk about saturated markets. They're only saturated because that's what you're looking for. Okay. The rest of the world has no clue. So just remember, when we see things as a saturated market, it's because we've been searching for it. It comes up on our news feeds. I got to tell you, if you start going out and liking all your friends' posts, you change the algorithms of what you're looking for, you will realize it's not as big as you think, and it's not as saturated as you think. So again, think outside that. You're just happen to have screwed up your news feeds by looking for these items, and that's okay. Don't get overwhelmed by that process. There are people around you who really don't do what you do, and they want no part of it. So they just want to buy the thing. All right, so there is that. Number 8, how do I use the market research and trend analysis to identify niche opportunities within the current crafting industry? So you can go in and do, what are the current trends? That's a great Google search. You can also use ChatGPT. ChatGPT can say, what are the current 2024 trends? And it will spit out to what you want. Guess what? I already did that for you. Do you want to know where it is? Pets. That is the biggest trending thing in 2024. One of the things it's within the top 3 or top 5 of that. So pets is definitely a niche item, and it's pretty much what it needs to be, right? So I will go into ChatGPT. We're going to do this live right now. Just so you can see, top trending niches. Let's see. Do that as of 2024. Sorry. Hold on. It's giving you a list. You would be amazed at what this list is. And yes, I will utilize ChatGPT for trending, for analysis, all of that stuff, and then see what it is. All right. So here are digital crafting and NFT art. All right. So that's basically like the tokens, digital crafting, NFT has gained traction. Artists and crafters are exploring digital mediums to create unique artworks. So AI, that is one of the trending niches, right? Sustainable crafting ideas. So let's see. Let me go back up to this one. Eco-friendly and sustainable products, personalized, customized items, wellness and self-care, pets. Pets was in the first 5, right? DIY craft kits, tech and trade crafts, upscaling and repurposing, and nostalgic items to round out the top 8. Okay. Those are the top trending things for 2024. All right. If that doesn't speak volumes to you, I don't know what is. But if any of those fall into your wheelhouse that you find your heart can be into, then you're going to be able to sell the thing. That's what that's for. Number 9, what are the resources or support that you can tap into that further develop my skills and knowledge for my chosen niche? Who can you ask? Sorry, this is probably shameless plugging right here, but who do you ask? Yesterday, I put out 10 dumpster fires of different companies. You guys reached out and said, Nikki, I can't brain. I need your help. what can you do? I'm a think outside the box person, but I'm also standing outside of your wheelhouse. I'm not in your business. I don't want to be in your business, right? That's your thing, but you're going to want to bounce an idea off and I'm going to bounce it right back, right? There's other resources out there that can help you learn the things, going to different crafting. Again, shameless plug, EEM and AG are great places to network. Networking is important. Zooms are important because this is how we find our support. One, we get a good bitch session. Let's just put it and call it what it is. But two, it gives us other people we could talk to and say, hey, I was thinking, what do you think about this? Because guess what? The people that are in my little Zooms, yes, may go out and do the same exact thing that you do, identical to the item, but they live in Ohio and this one lives in Oregon. They're different demographics. They're different people they're going to play to. And guess what? You probably aren't going to sell to the same client, even if you do sell online. You won't. You're going to find different people. It's very rare that someone's going to buy from my shop that's going to know about another shop in 10 states over. Okay? It's just very rare that they're going to find the same thing. So don't worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff when it comes to the networking. Be honest, be open. Do you have to share where you get everything? No, you don't. But can you share an idea or a concept? Sure. I mean, nothing's really new out there anyway, right? There's nothing that anybody can really gatekeep. You just go do a Google search. The only reason why I won't give up some things is because I did all the work. Go Google it yourself, right? That's the only thing. I'm not gatekeeping. I spent hours and constantly trying to find things. You could just say, yeah, I did a quick Google search. Let them Google search. Let them find the rabbit hole they need to be going down. It doesn't mean I'm gatekeeping. It just means I don't feel like just hand spoon feeding you everything that you need. Sometimes if you want to grow your business, you actually got to put in the work. You got to dig your heels in and actually do the thing. You can't have everything spoon fed to you. I sure as heck did it. And I'm going to make sure. It's called loving you, but still making sure you do it yourself. Okay. This is a defining teaching moment for all of you. I can't do everything and spoon feed it all. Lastly, how do I envision my craft business and contributing to the larger community? I'm missing my last sentence. Hold on, please. I wrote it over in Word and I had to put it in a PDF. And of course, larger community. Oh, there it is. And fulfilling specific needs or demand. Okay. So that is where that is. Thank you, Cheyenne. I'm like, I don't know where it is. I'm like, where did it go? So how do I envision my crafting business and contributing to a larger community or fulfilling a specific need or demand? Okay. So that is one of those things that, how do you get to that larger community? It depends on what's in your wheelhouse. It depends on what your niche is. Then you start going to events for that. You start going to event coordinators. Maybe there's people that, the hiking, we're going to go with that niche. If you go with you love hiking, maybe you should start seeing what groups you could be in, how you can reach out to different people. Those are the things that you need to do. You need to do some social networking to figure out, are there communities? Are there gatherings? Are there craft shows? Are there vendor shows? Those kind of things based on that niche, right? Car club enthusiasts, maybe that's where you want to be. So Suzanne likes to do the car shows. She goes and sells at car shows. That's a fantastic niche to sell in because it's old cars, right? So she goes to those events locally and she meets new car people all the time. They may be the same one from car show to car show to car show, right? But you're going to meet new people because not everybody can make the same weekend. So that's another thing. You're going to always hit. You're going to always keep adding and maybe not necessarily subtracting out of it. You're just going to keep adding more people. Whether or not they buy from you is subjective, but at least you're going to add them and have them know who you are. So those are the different things that I would say would be a lot of candy for yourself today. I'm going to go through the comments real quick. Let's see. Okay. So animals. Yes. See, Kathleen, you just figured out your niche. Congratulations. You are an animal lover through and through. And here's the thing. I already knew your niche. I just need you to find it. I know sometimes your niche, one, by watching you talk, by watching what you do, by listening to what you have to say to me. Animals is where it's at for you. That is your niche. Those are the people you're going to cater to, not people with babies, not for weddings, not for retirements. That's not your jam. Your jam is the animal community. Okay. So, because you and I have talked, and every conversation we have had, you've mentioned animal at least a few times at some point, right? We have talked about this. When we video chatted, we had a whole conversation and I'm like, I just need her to discover this on her own. Sometimes I won't tell you where I think your niche is because I need your heart to tell you, not Nikki. Nikki doesn't need to tell you where your niche is. I know people could have told me where my niche is, all right? But I had to discover it on my own because I had to fall in love with it. I had to own it. I had to be okay with it. And that is the scariest step one can take. I could have pulled a group and say, hey, if you could see me in one niche, where would it be? I could tell you, they would say helping small businesses, bam, right out of the gate. You guys would be on that like white on rice. Okay. But I had to figure that out for myself. And then I had to figure out how I could provide a service to the people that know that my heart is in with small businesses. The same with you. Yup. So those are the same things with you. And she writes in here, I'll just going to show what her comment is that I'm saying yup to. We're talking about tap tags and animals. And when you could just hear it in her voice, you get excited about it. You could tell when I get excited about things too, right? So you know my heart's in the right place. You can also know when I'm not feeling it. When I'm not feeling it before my face says it or my mouth says it, you can actually just hear it. You can see it in my body language and everything. But if someone were to talk to Kathleen about animals, she gets so excited. She almost shakes with joy. It is so adorable to watch. You are all like that. Every one of you. All right. You just have to find that moment. Okay. That's the moment you're looking for. Right. And you got to figure that out. So now the next question was, where was it? Am I getting the laser pecker? Okay. Currently, no. Currently, I'm going to make room for a new toy. I'm just not there yet for said new toy. I almost pulled the trigger on the new toy the other day, but I'm holding myself back. I want to do a little bit more research on it. And whatnot, but no, I don't think I'm gonna get the laser pecker because I have the big laser, and I don't feel like I will be doing in-person vendor shows. I'm just not sure I want to do in-person vendor shows. This is why I'm holding back from like the F1 tool or the laser pecker. I'd honestly get the laser pecker just for the name because it's just funny, and I'm a 12-year-old child inevitably, so there is that, because it's a great conversation starter. Hey, do you want to see my pecker? I mean, seriously, it's funny. And if you don't think it's funny, maybe I am not your people. Okay, because it's just funny. All right. So it's one of those things that I have to decide if it's something that I want to do. I've already talked it over with my business partner, and she is all for it, but she knows that I am holding myself back to getting this new piece of machinery. And she mentioned, she goes, all right, you didn't just jump. Why didn't you jump? Well, because I got to make sure I can cross every T and dot every I, because what this machine will do is slightly different than what I already have. So I got to make sure it's what I want. And lots and lots of research. And right now I'm on that verge of, no, it's not a DTF printer. And everybody wants me to get a Spangle machine. No, it's not a Spangle machine. Although I would love a Spangle machine. Like, if you were to ask me the items I would need left in my wheelhouse: fiber laser, UV printer. I want to get a Spangle machine. I want to get, I don't want to do DTF. I don't want to do DTF. I have my Roland. I really don't want to DTF. So I think that those would be the next things in the wheelhouse if I get the new toy. So there is that. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. That's a great comment. Yes, I love that. I'm here for that comment. Anywho, so I hope you guys learned a lot. There was a lot of nuggets of information in this live. I know it's a little bit longer than my lunchtime lives where I like to keep them under 30 minutes, but there was a lot to just take in. Go back on YouTube, watch the rewind of this so that you can go back and go, okay, you know what? She said to do this. Hopefully you screenshot, scroll to the end if you want to, screenshot that whole list of questions you need to ask yourself. And are you going to have one of these moments when you think about different products or niche ideas? Like you get super excited, right? That's where your niche is. That's where your heart is. And that's something you could talk passionately about. Then that's probably the niche for you. And if you have a few niches, that's okay. You have to figure out which niche is of the most important. And then you can have sub niches under that. Well, that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching me and this lunchtime live. And until next time, you know it. I'll see y'all on the flip side.